with a simple step. For this reason, having the bravery to envision and convincingly frame a better way for us and the world is essential. While our planet keeps moving around and society faces an impressive number of abrupt changes and challenges, let me say that I am really proud of you for the fact that you chose to embark on this difficult and interesting journey of intense learning and never-ending discoveries. What you are going to experience in the different committees, debates, and negotiations is very timely, as we live in a dangerous world, especially since we have a war on our continent and at our borders. And it's not the only war on the planet. Besides, we have the Cold War back, with the difference. Today, the mechanisms that existed in the past Cold War, mechanisms of dialogue, of contact, of control, are not there anymore. We have a multiplication of conflicts everywhere, more and more interlinked with each other, and linked to a global threat of terrorism that can strike anywhere in the world. We have climate change running faster than we are. We have a globalization that has brought enormous benefits, but also dramatically increased inequalities in the world, with terrible consequences in relation with the well-being of people and also to the security of our planet. We are facing a fourth industrial revolution that, again, we hope will bring great benefits to mankind, and it already did. But when one thinks about genetic engineering or artificial intelligence or many other tech developments, it's clear there will be a huge impact on our economies, on our societies, on our labor markets, and many factors could be detrimental to our well-being. War is becoming increasingly complex and sophisticated, from religious war to cyber war to information war, and so is and should be mediating peace. The essence of what you're doing actually these days during this exercise. Conflicts around the world drag on for years and decades, holding back development and stunting opportunities. Comprehensive peace agreements are becoming more elusive and short-lived. Political will wanes. International attention drifts. As bad as the situation is in many parts of the world, I don't want to depict here a catastrophic picture, because I remain optimistically realistic and firmly convinced that is within our power to tackle and reverse these trends. For this, it is absolutely essential to preserve four things: global solidarity and collaboration, multilateral governance institutions, the rule of law in international relations, and, of course, empowering the younger generations, the generation of leaders. We badly need you. You, the brilliant, courageous, creative younger generation. We badly need you to get involved in all these endeavors. And for this, you have to be prepared. And for this exercise is very useful. We want you to become soon some of the fiercest defenders and promoters of peace in our regions and in the world. As the former and probably most quoted UN Secretary General Kofi Annan used to say, young people should be at the forefront of global change and innovation. Empowered, they can be key agents for development and peace. However, if they are left on society's margins, all of us will be impoverished. Let us ensure that all young people have every opportunity to participate fully in the lives of their societies. So, you have our back in everything you aspire to do. Just try and strive to be not only the future, but the present leaders of the world and make it much better. But for the moment, have an amazing LaudeMUN edition these days. Thank you. Merci. Mulțumesc.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for your valuable words and the impressive speech. We are also waiting for you physically with us, always with joy. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Dear students, participating in this edition of LaudeMUN. Not only is this a wonderful opportunity for you to experience for yourself the pressures, challenges, and ultimately rewards that come from working within this international project, but also as an opportunity for me to express my deepest appreciation for all your work and to hope that you will continue to follow the path to success. I am heartened to see such a large and enthusiastic group of young adults engaged in global issues. Together, you represent the United Nations as it should be people from different schools coming together to find solutions to problems through constructive debate and an exchange of ideas. Your model United Nation is built on open minds and fresh ideas. Many of you have been asked to represent national agendas or stands that you may possibly are opposed or disagree with. You will do so fairly and forcefully. This open-mindedness is the essence of successful diplomacy, the ability to understand and analyze all positions, including those that you oppose. I'm glad that you are part of this European vision of the future, and I argue to make full use of all the educational opportunities offered to you to become successful European leaders. I wish you a LaudeMUN session that adds value to your future. I give the floor now to Michna Stan, your MC for these days.
Thank you, Tova. I now invite to the stage a man who represents a few of the core principles our school was built on: will, determination, power. Deputy Ambassador for the State of Israel in Bucharest, Amir Sagron.
Thank you. Good morning. I was told, and I understand that the brightest minds of Romania are here in this room. The leaders of the future of Romania. So I want to start with a question, an open question. In the 21st century, the technological world of the 21st century, do we really need diplomats at all? When leaders can and are using technology to communicate. I can testify that I saw Israeli and Romanian leaders changing WhatsApp numbers. Do they need diplomats when they can just pick up the phone and text or even video. They can make their own decisions. They can talk about UN votes, statements. They can agree on joint meetings. Do we really need diplomats? It was 21st of February, 2022, when the war started in Ukraine, and we, the diplomats of the Embassy of Israel here in Romania, we were sent for a month to Siret, to the border between Romania and Ukraine. And we started by getting to know the people there, creating relationships. And one day, it was, I think, about a week or 2 weeks after we were there, I got a call from the children hospital, the Schneider Children Hospital in Israel. And they told me, look, we are organizing a special bus that will pick up 11 children from Kiev, from a children's hospital in Kiev, will bring them through Siret to Romania. Then we want you to take them from Siret to Suceava, and from Suceava, we will bring a private plane to fly them to Israel, to the Schneider Hospital, so we can host them and treat them. This is when Kiev is under fire. And we, for a few hours, did all we can to coordinate this from Romania and Siret, but also our embassy in Kiev, which were not in Kiev at that time. They were in the border with Poland. The ambassadors, the ministries. It was a whole project to make sure that this 11 children plus a few parents are coming safely and arriving in Suceava to fly to Israel. The problem is that everything was very on the point. They had to leave from Suceava with the private plane at, if I remember correctly, 8 p.m. If they don't leave until 8 p.m., the flight cannot take off, and I don't know what we're doing. This is for technical reasons. They left Kiev 15 hours before, under fire. They took this minivan and they put with stickers these crosses to try and not get themselves hurt when they're leaving Kiev under fire. Eventually, we said that at 3 p.m. we will wait for them at Siret, myself and the previous ambassador, Ambassador Saranga, at the border between Romania and Ukraine. And I'm calling my contacts hours before, and I'm telling them what's going on, and they're telling me we left late, and 3 p.m. will not happen. I told them, okay, but please, by 8 p.m. we need to leave from Suceava. From Siret to Suceava is another 45 minutes drive. And we are waiting and waiting, and the ambassador and I are not at the regular cross. We went inside already to really the border between the countries, and we are waiting there and waiting and nothing. And I'm trying to call my contact on the bus, and she's not available. Eventually, after more than an hour when we are waiting there, I was able to get her, and she says, look, we are about 1 kilometer from the Ukrainian side, the Ukrainian border. Nothing is moving. There's a traffic jam, and we are not moving for more than 30 minutes. What can we do? We didn't know what to do. We were on the Romanian side. So at that point, we made a few calls to all the people we knew for the past 2 weeks in Siret, the commander of the border crossing, other people, president of the county, and other relevant people. And they helped us. They said, you know what, no problem. They took the ambassador and I without without anything formal. They took us inside to the Ukrainian soldiers and took us physically. We crossed the border and to the Ukrainian side of the border, and we physically were able to speak with the Ukrainian soldiers, and they went and they found the bus and they took the bus, and really last minute we arrived at Suchava at 7:30 p.m. They had to check the children before the flight. They flew, I remember, like 3 minutes before. Really like an Hollywood movie. It's okay, it's okay. So I'll go back to the question. Do we, in the 21st century, do we still need diplomats? When technologically it's easy for leaders, for politicians and leaders, state leaders to communicate. The answer is that real diplomacy is relationships. If we didn't make a good relations with the relevant people in Siret, we would not have, at the last moment, we would not be able to cross the border and for them to speak with the Ukrainian soldiers and find the bus and take it. We would be in a situation where they are stuck, they will not cross on time, and all this operation will go to waste. Real diplomacy and in life, everything is personal. Everything is personal. Being a good or being a diplomat, your added value is the relationships you make. When you arrive to a new place, the number one challenge for you is to make as many relevant contacts and friends as soon as you can, because you don't know when you'll get the phone call when you need to ask someone for help. This is true for situations like wars, but it's also true for multilateral relations. I remember a few times when I needed to use my contacts for a specific vote or specific discussion at the UN. I wish you all good luck with this beautiful program, and thank you. Toda.
Thank you. I now invite to the stage one of the many alumni that proved everything we learn here is put into practice. Vice President of the Authority of Research, Innovation and Digitalization in Romania, Andrei Nicolae.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, Your Excellency, Secretary General, President of the General Assembly. I still remember the rules of procedure and I'll try to abide by them. First of all, a little disclaimer. I'm usually not nervous when I speak in front of an audience, but this time my former English teacher is in the room and I'll try not to mess it up. I haven't practiced my English in a few years, but it's still working with me. Last time when I spoke in front of you, I did it in Romanian and my ex-Romanian teacher was in the room. So the same problem, or on and on again, but I'm sure they did a good job and I won't make a fool of myself. To start here, I'm in a triple quality. First of all, I'm an ex-student of the Laude-Reut complex. I'm an alumna of the University of Bucharest, and I'm an ex-participant in the LaudeMUN conferences. I had the honor and privilege to be the president of the General Assembly a few years back. I remember back then we didn't have the same the chance to be able to host our conference in such a nice place like this. I mean, we did the opening ceremony in the Central University of the Central Library of the university, but then the committees were held in a house of the University of Bucharest Political Science Department, which was, to put it lightly, not that nice as this place. But I would like to start my address answering or trying to answer Mr. Sagron's question. In my opinion, the question is not if we need diplomats, is not if diplomats are necessary, but who is and what does a diplomat mean these days? With the democratization of communication, with the access we all have to means of large communications, with the fact that everyone can now reach a large audience using a live video on Facebook or on a social media platform. Anyone has the weapon to do advocacy, to represent his country, to discuss topics of international relevance. And this is an opportunity that even I, let alone our more experienced friends, didn't have back in our age. Now you have the power to reach millions of people, to discuss topics, and to be seen and heard by people all over the globe using your phone. And this is the power that you have. A power that everyone has, but a power that we need to understand how to use, and we need to understand how to use wisely and in our favor and in the benefit of our society. The fact that you are here means a lot for Romania itself, means a lot for yourselves as future leaders, as I'm sure many of you in some capacity will lead either Romania, the European Union, or maybe international institutions such as the UN. The fact, as I said, that you are here is a great start. But your sole physical presence here is not enough. Try and take the most out of the experience you have. Understand and be aware of the fact that you have a great opportunity and privilege to be here and discuss topics of global relevance, of global importance, topics discussed today by our world leaders on all stages, be it the UN, the Romanian Parliament, the European Union, and don't take this lightly. Be diplomatic, be reasonable, but in your diplomacy and reason, try and be bold. Try and support your points of view. Try and speak your mind, because unfortunately, I see it more often than ever nowadays. The public discourse, the public stage is getting more and more sterile. People are afraid to speak about the topics that matter. People are afraid, unfortunately, to speak their minds and say maybe the uncomfortable things, maybe the controversial things. But those things are the ones that actually take us forward. And as I said, the dilution and the sterilization of the public discourse does no good to anyone. I understand political correctness. I understand being kind and being polite and being diplomatic, but this leads nowhere. Consensus, for the sole reason of consensus, doesn't bring us anywhere. Debate, fight with arguments, speak your mind, try and find middle ground, but don't find middle ground with no ideas. Speak your mind, and all those different ideas, all those controversial ideas, try and condense them in a paper at the end of your sessions, which is going to take us forward in some way or another. Another challenge that I raise to you, especially those in the Security Council, because this was my favorite committee to take part in. Let's see if you can find other solutions than sending UN peacekeeping troops to solve the issue. Because every time when I had a resolution in the Security Council, it ended up in this. The UN sends peacekeeping mission troops to and Mrs. Dospinescu can agree here. This was a common disease that we all had in the Security Council. And as I said, speak your mind, be bold, and don't be afraid to speak of the things that matter. Regarding the war in Ukraine, Mr. Deputy Ambassador discussed and pointed out the way we can all help in a different capacity. And it's not only the case of the war in Ukraine. And as I said in the beginning of my speech, we can all help, we can all be part, and we can all take the stand and be advocates and help in any capacity, shape, or form we have access to. I'm not a diplomat. I'm not part of any sort of diplomatic or humanitarian agency. But I remember at the beginning of the conflict, I took 3 weeks off my job to volunteer in a refugee center. I coordinated a campaign that managed to raise thousands of external batteries, lanterns, jackets, tents, and we sent them to young Ukrainians in need. And this is another example that using communication, using social media, using our phones, using, as the deputy ambassador said, WhatsApp, we can do more today than our predecessors 50 years ago did with all infrastructure they had back then, because it was a fax and the phone and maybe some letters. So as I said, be aware of the power you have. But coming back to the war in Ukraine, and maybe what I'm going to say now is quite controversial, but I told you we should do this. When you do good to some, do it in such extent that you don't harm others. Make sure that you do not fall under consensus just because the society asks you to. Don't be politically correct just because you might fear that you're going to be hated afterwards. And maybe it could be a good topic of discussion if you watched the public space lately regarding the grains from Ukraine. That, according to an agreement we had with the Ukrainian government, Ukrainians were supposed to export their cereal and grains through Romania to Egypt, but the agreement was not respected. And now Romanian agriculture loses hundreds of millions of euros yearly. And maybe this is a topic that we need to discuss. Yes, help, but at the same time, do not do harm to others. In conclusion, I'm extremely happy and I'm extremely proud to see that you are here. You are open to discuss topics on the public agenda. Unfortunately, generations nowadays tend to stay and veer more and more away from the public agenda, from politics, from international relations, because it's not a trendy topic anymore, unfortunately. And it's our role as the youth, as youth in power, as myself, youth in government, to show that young people of our generation in Romania and wherever have ideas, have valuable ideas, and are supposed and must be at the table of discussion. Because, to be honest, and I know you hear it a lot, you are the future. It's a statement that is extremely overused. I know you heard it a lot of times. I heard it a lot of times. At some point, I stopped believing it, because I saw more and more the same people being promoted to positions of power, more and more of the same people promoting the same ideas on and on, while I was hearing that I was the future. But then, metaphorically speaking, I went to sleep as the future and woke up as the present. I was appointed Undersecretary of State in the Romanian government when I was at the age of, and I still am at the age of 23. I didn't have the time to I don't know, get accustomed to it. I was thrown into the ring, and I had to use all the knowledge, all the experience that I accumulated in my professional experience, in my school years, to do good and to show that us, the youth, the young generation of this country, have a saying and have ideas. And the fact that you chose to come here is a great step forward. The fact that for the next days you're going to share a room with people you may disagree with people that represent countries that are enemies with the country you represent, it's a step forward. The fact that you will be able to speak your mind and find consensus is a step forward. So, to sum it up, make the most out of this experience. Congratulations, Tova. Congratulations to the Lauder complex for the 10th consecutive edition of LaudeMUN. I'm extremely privileged, extremely honored to be here amongst you, and I wish you good luck. Thank you.
This is kind of tall for me. So. My name is Christian Vasilescu. I am the founder of Elitic Education and also partner to Asociațiune Diplomatice and Change the World Model United Nations. And recently we have signed a partnership with Sorbonne University, and I'm not here in a diplomatic posture, or I'm simply here in from an educational point of view to congratulate Laude for their 10th edition. Mrs. Tova here and all the organizers. I have met some of you. Congratulations, and I'm proud to see that what has become of this MUN. It's amazing to see a room full of students, and it's amazing to see how you guys have I don't know, involved yourselves in different kind of activities such as debating, such as MUNing, and I represent 8-9 schools in Romania, and I would like to tell you that we encourage these kinds of activities. And as a voice, the only way that you can impact the society we live in Romania, because it needs impacting, is through collaboration, is through putting aside differences and working together for a better society. And that's why we have leaders, that's why we have young representatives like the ones that just talked sorry, can you hear me? Like the ones that just talked before me, diplomats and everything, that, and most of all teachers, so they can enforce and empower you with a voice. With that being said, I am not here to talk about. I am here to introduce someone that will talk to you guys and will tell you a bit about different programs. MUN programs are all over the world, starting from New York to Dubai, Singapore, Rome. Alessandro, will give you the perspective of FAO on what MUNing is and what it should look like. Also, event. And secondly, I would like to thank you for inviting me here. Okay. Is my connection is ready? Whenever you guys want. Okay. Okay. On that note being said, I will give the floor to someone else, and I'll come back to you further on with a message at the end of the speech from the guest that we will be inviting later. Okay. I'll continue the speech afterwards. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, another one of our alumni that was with us on this fantastic MUN journey, UN Youth President Alessandra Voicu.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me without a microphone? Okay. Dear Tova, distinguished members of the Laude-Reut Educational Complex, honorable chairs, distinguished delegates, lovely guests and press. Today is a happy day for me. Given that it has been 4 years since I was here at LaudeMUN, 4 years since I graduated from the Laude-Reut Educational Complex, now I come back to you as an alumni, former delegate, former chairpersons, a partner, a friend. The UN Youth Association of Romania and Laude-Reut have a history together, filled with joyful memories of cooperation and fellowship. Here at the UN Youth Association, we are always eager to welcome Laude-Reut students because we are all well aware of their qualities. Looking back, I can see that the quality of LaudeMUN has been kept and only improvements have been made. Our two institutions have always been close both in partnership and in vision, sharing our common goals of bringing students closer to the fundamental UN values. Tova, whose unwavering commitment towards academic excellence has always been a dear friend of our association, one whom we like to thank for the many years of friendship. She is a beacon for us all, an example behind who all current and former Laude students come together. LaudeMUN, together with BISMUN, are two of the conferences that stand at the top of the higher echelons of the Romanian MUN community. Bound together by history and a common goal, UNUT and Laude-Reut has always strived to bring forward the best conferences with regards to the academic aspect. We wish that the delegates who come to our conferences live with the desire to return next year. MUNs are the perfect learning opportunities for young students. Here, people of like-minded ideals come together in the spirit of free and unrestricted debate, trying to solve the many problems that plague our world. Young minds, free of any biases, work together to find solutions. Such is the beauty of MUN. This is why we have been steadfast in our commitment to never accept anything less than the academic excellence, both us at UNUT and our esteemed partners, Laude-Reut. The UNIT Association of Romania, as well you know, are the organizers of the BISMUN conference. 12 years of history, a chapter which is continued by those who strive to maintain the legacy and mission for our conference. BISMUN, in its time, has welcomed many Lauder students from the early generations to the more recent ones. Delegates, chairpersons, and even members of the EXCOM have come to us who have been once Laude-Reut students, and for that we are very, very grateful. However, we must not be self-sufficient and remain adamant to our mission. At this time passing, we must ensure that the legacy of our conferences lives on. We urge all of you, whomever you may be, to become the best version of yourself and help others to do so in the process. We are a big family, the MUN family. Let us be here for one another. As I reach the end of my speech, I want to highlight my undying respect for Tova and the Laude-Reut Board of Teachers. Without whose guidance, this conference would have been nearly impossible to organize. To the Secretariat of LaudeMUN, I wish to extend my congratulations for the pristine job they have done so far and wish them all the best during the days of debate. And to you, the chairpersons, the delegates, the press, and the committee assistant, I wish you all good and luck, and may your debates be ever fruitful. Happy birthday, LaudeMUN, and thank you very much.
Our next speech will be held by someone really close to LaudeMUN's heart, Public Affairs Manager of Romanian Business Leaders, Ioana Dăspinescu.
Good morning. I hope everyone can hear me. Esteemed guests, distinguished participants, fellow members of the Secretariat team, I'm not an alumni of Laude MUN, but I'm an alumni of the MUN family, if I can say so. So I'm humbled and honored to be in front of you today. I'm wearing two hats, one on behalf of the 401 business leaders, Romanian business leaders that I represent, and one on behalf of myself as a former MUNer. Today marks the beginning of the 10th edition of LaudeMUN, 10 almost consecutive years of debating international relations in Bucharest. And for myself, the first MUN that I take part in as a mere invitee. Back in 2013, I was in your shoes, being a delegate in my first committee representing the UK. Little did I know back then that MUNs will soon become my second home and will help me grow into the person that I am today. The MUN world gives you the perfect settings to experience for yourself, in one way, the pressures and challenges, and ultimately the rewards that come from working within the unique system that is the United Nations. The UN is vast, complex, and incredibly interesting. There is also almost no limit to the areas of human activities it covers. It has the power to bound countries together by something deeper and stronger, and on its strength do the countries draw on to face our challenges. The charter that founded the UN was signed in 1945, and now, 78 years later, the values enshrined in its provisions still provide a relevant and credible blueprint for a better world. Its preamble speaks on the need to save future generations from the scourges of war, but it also speaks on human rights, human dignity, gender equality between nations, justice, and international law. It is a document for our time, and it is a document for all time. When first reading it in a 10th grade, much like you, I felt as inspired as one could be. I drew on that inspiration and nourished my passion for MUNs. It is MUNs that at an early age helped me and taught me how the UN system works and how global diplomacy is handled and how I, ultimately, as a young student, can improve most of my skills thus far. Dear delegates, I see so many familiar faces from last autumn's BISMUN. You have made an important decision by coming here, one that could impact positively your development and your growth. Find what inspires you and do one thing each day to turn that inspiration into a passion. For me, MUNs were a continuous source of inspiration, one that ignited my interest for diplomacy and international relations. But that was not the most important aspect. It was the friends that I gained along the way. Cherish each moment and give 101% in everything. If you leave LaudeMUN with at least one friend and one great memory, I can say that your experience was worth it. Dear chairpersons, congrats on joining the MUN family. I'm certain that you are creative and brilliant young people and that you will shape the discussions in forms you cannot yet expect. Your experience and knowledge will guide your delegates to the best decisions. I'm certain of it. Dear Laude-Reut Educational Complex and dear organizing team, it is organizations like yours that need to continue in doing what they do so far, that each generation of young people can get the chance to find their passion. It is you that shapes the next generation of leaders. Congratulations for that. You have my constant admiration. The fact that you are here today, engaged, active, interested, and concerned, tells me very clearly that you recognize and understand the importance of the UN system and that you embrace its values. As your future careers and your lives progress, I urge you, do not lose sight of them. Continue to seek out the ways in which you can make your own contribution towards the peace and prosperity of mankind, wherever your life takes you and whatever you do. I'm sure that this event will give you a strong flavor of the mechanism that the UN, that underpin and shape the UN. And I hope it will strengthen the zeal you already have for cooperation, consensus, and for working together. As I conclude my intervention, I must leave you with a quote that I hold so dear to my heart. And it says the following: many people in many places do many small things that can and change the face of the world. Let us, many great people in many places, do a lot of great things that will and can change the face of the world. Happy anniversary, LaudeMUN, and great debating.
Until our last guest will be able to join us, I encourage you to listen to our Deputy Secretary General on the importance of diplomacy in the modern world.
And I think diplomacy is something that is necessary in our fields, no matter what. And even though most of you here probably will not choose to have careers as diplomats, It will impact your entire lifestyle from this moment onwards. This is one of the reasons why I consider that all of you need to be appreciated for your decision of coming here for those days and sharing this experience together. Besides the academical part and besides the overall experience, you're developing some skills that will last you a lifetime. And this is one of the wisest decisions you can take at this particular stage in your evolution. And therefore I should hope you we can help you in this process of gathering those skills, as well as try to make this experience as pleasant as possible for all of you for these couple of days.
And now for our surprise guest, Mr. Alessandro Diamaiuta. Can you hear us? Right. I think Mr. Alessandro Diamaiuta won't be joining us today. So
Okay,
finally,
can you hear me?
he has joined us today. So I'll give you the ability to speak. Can you hear us?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much. So it is a pleasure and honor of being here in LaudeMUN. It is a first time I participate in this kind of event. I would wish I was there with all of you, because I really feel that the MUN community needs to stay together. A big part of Model UN is the experience of spending time together, enjoying the delegates. I've heard the speech of the previous speaker, and he expressed exactly the particularities of MUN. It's true that Model UNs are not only for those students that are interested in becoming diplomats in the future. I myself was a former student. I participated in my first MUN in 2008. I believe many of you maybe were not born at that time, but I think it's the magic of Model UN, as I call it. I want to thank you. I want to thank the organizers. I want to thank Mr. Vasilescu and all the team of Delictic for this opportunity. I am Alessandro Diamaiuta, and I'm the General Director for Associazioni Diplomatici and Change the World MUN. We've been running conferences for the last 23 years around the world. Our largest event has taken place in New York City this year with 3,200 students coming from 140 different countries. On Sunday, in 3 days' time, I'll be flying to Singapore for our next event. And then coming up in this summer edition, we're going to have again a conference in New York City. I am here to give you a bit of an insight about the world of Change the World and why Change the World is so particular. We really enjoy always being together, partnering with companies, Model UN clubs, Model UN conferences around the world, because we feel that this partnership, this staying together, creates the importance of these projects. Model UN are a learning experience for all the students participating. They are an incredible opportunity to test all the participants in their multilateral skills, in their soft skills, in the way they are able to speak, in the way they're able to interact and negotiate with other delegates. I think that is the real essence of Change the World and also LaudeMUN. The fact that the MUN becomes a tool that allows all the participants to develop all these soft skills, interact and grow. I think the growth that it comes from Model UNs in particular is not only an educational growth, there's a personal growth. And every time you participate in an MUN, it's not a one-time experience only. Every time is going to be a different experience. This due to the fact that the real experience is created by the delegates that are seated next to you, the delegates that you will interact, the delegates here that you will get to know, and maybe fight over the most important topics of the United Nations agenda. I think that is the essence of Model UNs, and that is, I think, why the United Nations support our initiatives and support all the Model UNs around the world. The world that we live in is in a strange period. We see some very dark clouds on the horizon. I think the only way to eliminate those clouds, eliminate those fears of war, of what's going on in European borders and in Somalia, in Yemen, etc., in Taiwan. I think the only way to eradicate this is through education, through creating a new generation that before moving for a fight, a war, and a dispute, moves to a table to negotiate and discuss problems and try to solve them in the best way possible. I think that is what you are going to be creating in these days, and really cherish every single moment of this experience, because it's going to create a long-lasting memories, long-lasting proof that through negotiation we can really change the world. That is the essence. That is what we're going to do in New York in July, and that is what I wish for all of you, fellow delegates, to accomplish in these days in LaudeMUN. I wish an enormous good luck to the organizers. I know it's very tiring organizing an MUN, long hours of work, no sleep, but I think it's you get repaired on seeing happy faces at the end of the conference. So I wish for all the organizers to see that all the participants are going to be happy at the end of the conference, that they will be satisfied about the fact of having learned while having fun. And I wish you an enormous good luck. And I thank you for this incredible opportunity of being there. Next time I'll try to come in person. I prefer always being in person. I love traveling the world. It's an incredible opportunity that I have with Association Diplomatie and Change the World. So next time, why not? I hope to be there in presence in your room. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Diamayuta. Finally, the moment you have all been waiting for. I give the floor to this year's Secretary General and President of the General Assembly, Arman Sika and Rote Malter. Please welcome them to the stage.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed chairperson, fellow delegates, and lovely members of the staff and press, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today at the 10th edition of the LaudeMUN Conference, I am reminded of the words of Nelson Mandela, who once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Each and every single one of you in this room is a testament to the power of education and the potential for change that it holds. As the Secretary General of this conference, I encourage you to approach the next few days with a sense of purpose and determination. Remember, the issues we are discussing are not just academic exercises or theoretical debates, but real-world problems that affect people's lives in profound ways. Your words, your ideas, and your actions can make a difference. It is easy to feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the challenges we face. Climate change, poverty, conflict, and inequality are just a few of the issues that demand our attention and action. But I urge you not to lose hope. Remember that every great change in history began with a small group of committed individuals who refused to accept the status quo. This is a moment for leadership. It is a moment to draw upon your knowledge, your skills, and your compassion to find solutions that benefit all. Be creative, be bold, and be innovative. Look beyond the immediate horizon and think about the kind of world you would like to create for future generations. Never forget the importance of listening to the perspective of others, even if they differ from your own. Seek to understand the complexities and nuances of the issues we are discussing. Engage in dialogue, debate, and negotiation with an open mind and a willingness to learn. So, let us rise to the challenge and work together towards a better world. Let us make the most of this opportunity to learn, grow, and make a positive impact. And let us always remember that the power to change the world lies within each and every one of us. Lastly, I would like to give my gratitude to the members that helped me to make all of this possible. My dear colleagues, teachers, staff, press, chiefs, and most importantly, the president of the Laude-Reut Educational Complex, Tova Benun Kerbis. All of the accommodation that allows you to be your best selves in comfort has been dutifully arranged by them, so don't forget to show respect to their hard work. Thank you, esteemed audience, and thank you again, and guests, and let this conference be a testament to your ingenuity to change the world for the better.
Well, I think Armand said everything that was there to said. So I would like to do the moment I think everybody was waiting for and open this conference. Before we move